Hare Krishna. Maitreya Uvacha iti te varnitah kshatah kala kahya paramatmanah mahima veda garbhota yathas rakshasi nibodhame. Should I read the translation or?
Yes, please, Mataji.
Okay, translation. Sri Maitreya said, O Lord Vidura,
Reading the translation. Pramila Mataji, are you ready?
She's
Hello?
muted, Mataji. Pramila Mataji is muted.
Can you unmute, please? Please unmute, Pramila Mataji. We can't hear you. Pramila Mataji, we can't hear you. Pramila Mataji, we cannot hear you.
Mataji has texted saying she's trying, Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji, can someone else please recite for Pramila Mataji until she's able to join? And Orpita Mataji, Hare Krishna Orpita. Hare Krishna Orpita.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Can you recite the English translation, please, until Pramila Mataji is able to join?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
No worries.
Orpita, you can start, please, from Sri Maitreya said.
Oh, okay, sorry. Hare Krishna. Sri Maitreya said, O learned Vidura, so far I have explained to you the glories of the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in his future of Kala. Now you can hear from me about the creation of Brahma, the reservoir of all Vedic knowledge.
Sloka. Sasarjagre nandata misram atata misram adikrit maha moham cha moham cha tamascha chagnana vrittayah.
Brahma first created the liscient engagements like self-deception, the sense of death, anger after frustration, the sense of false ownership, and the illusory bodily conception or forgetfulness of one's real identity.
दृष्ट्वा पापी यासीं सृष्टितिं नात्मानं भव अमन्यता भगवद्ध्यानपूतेन मनसान्यां ततो सृजत्.
Seeing such a misleading creation as a sinful task, Brahma did not feel much pleasure in his activity, and therefore he purified himself by meditation on the personality of Godhead. Then he began another term of creation.
सनकं च सनन्दनं च सनातनम् अथात्मभूः सनत्कुमारं च मुनिं निष्क्रियान् ऊर्ध्वरेतसः.
In the beginning, Brahma created 4 great sages named Sanaka, Sananda, Sanatan, and Sanat Kumara. All of them were unwilling to adopt materialistic activities because they were highly elevated due to their humans flowing upward.
तान् भभासे स्वभूतान् प्रजः सृजत पुत्रकाः तन्नैश्चन्मोक्षधर्माणो वासुदेवपरायणाः.
Brahma spoke to his sons after generating them. My dear sons, he said, now generate progeny. But due to their being attached to Vasudeva, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, they aimed at liberation, and therefore they expressed their unwillingness.
स वधायातः सुतैरेवं प्रत्यक्षायातनुश्चरणैः क्रोधं दुर्विषहं जातं नियन्तुम् उपचक्रमे.
Can I start it?
Hare Krishna, is that Pramila?
Yes, Mataji. Sorry, now I can read.
Okay, so thank you, Arpita, very much for helping out. So over to you, Pramila, for the next English translation, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
This is text 6.
It's yes, text
Okay.
6.
On the refusal of the sons to obey the order of their father, there was much anger generated in the mind of Brahma, which he tried to control and not express.
धिया नृगयामणोऽपि भ्रुवोर्मध्यात् प्रजापतेः सद्यो जायत तन्मन्युः कुमारो नीललोहितः.
Although he tried to curb his anger, it came out from between his eyebrows, and a child mixed blue and red was immediately generated.
स वै रुरोध देवानां पूर्वजो भगवन् भवः नामानि कुरु मे धातः स्थानानि च जगद्गुरो.
After his birth, he began to cry, O destiny maker, teacher of the universe, kindly designate my name and place.
इति तस्य वचः पाद्मो भगवान् परिपालयन् भयधाद् भद्राय वाचा मारोदिस्तत्करोमि ते.
The all-powerful Brahma, who was born from the lotus flower, pacified the boy with gentle words, accepting his request, and said, Do not cry. I shall certainly do as you desire.
Text 10. Yad आरोदिः श्रेष्ठा सोद्वेग इव बालकः अभिधास्यान्ति नम्ना रुद्र इति प्रजाः.
Thereafter Brahma said, O chief of the demigods, you shall be called by the name Rudra by all people because you have so anxiously cried.
Text 11. Hridi indriyanyasurvyoma vayuragnirjalam mahi suryaschandrastapashchaiva sthananyagre krutani te.
My dear boy, I have already selected the following places for your residence: the heart, the senses, the air of the life, the sky, the air, the fire, the water, the earth, the sun, the moon, and austerity.
Text 12. Manyormanor mahinaso mahanchaiva ऋतध्वजः उग्रतेरेथ भवः कालो वामदेवो धृतव्रतः.
Lord Brahma said, "My dear boy Rudra, you have 11 other names. Manu, Mahinasa, Maha, Siva, Riddhavaja, Ugrata, Bhava, Kala, Vamdeva, and Dhratvrata."
Text 13. धीर्धृति रस ला लोमा च नियुत्सर्पिर् इलाम्भिका ऐरावती स्वधा दीक्षा रुद्राण्यो रुद्रते स्त्रियः.
O Rudra, you also have 11 wives called the Rudraranis, and they are as follow: Dhi, Dhriti, uh, Rasala, Uma, Niyut, Sarpi, Ila, Ambika, Iravati, Swadha, and Diksa.
Text 14. गृहाणैतानि नामानि स्थानानि च स योषनः एभिः सृज प्रजा बह्वीः प्रजानामसि यत्पतिः.
My dear boy, you may now accept all the names and places designated for you and your different wives. And since you are now one of the masters of the living entities, you may increase the population on a large scale.
Text 15. Iti adishtasvaguruna Bhagavan Nila Lohitaha Sattva Swabhavena Sarasjatma Samah Prajaha.
The most powerful Rudra, whose bodily color was blue mixed with red, created many offspring exactly resembling him in features, strength, and furious nature.
Hare Krishna, thank you very much. We're only reciting up to text 14 today, but never mind. Thank you very much, Matajis, for your beautiful recitations. Let me see if Shyam Hari Prabhuji has joined. Hare Krishna, Shyam Hari Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the recitation. Hare Krishna devotees, thank you very much for being here this evening. So we will be discussing verse number 11 until 12, from 12 until 16 today. So 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16 of chapter 12, canto 3, chapter entitled Creation of the Kumaras and Others. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire Nashta Prayesho Bhadresho Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtaki. Om Jnanatimirandasya Gyananjanashlakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha. Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanutam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanupam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Shivanamasute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyayo Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Krishnaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gaurvani Pacharine Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschatadi Siddhavine Makam Karoti Vachalam Pangam Langayate Giripatam Hamande Shri Guru Paramanandamaram Sri Jaisanya Hare Krishna. So read verse number 12. Sorry.
Aniya.
Verse number 12. Manyur Madur Mahinas Mahan Chivaratadvajah Duraveta Bhavatalo Vamadevo Titavataha. There are no synonyms here. All the names, all names with the translation by His Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Translation. Lord Brahma said, my dear boy Rudra, you have 11 other names. Manyu, Manu, Mahinasa, Mahan, Shiva, Ritadhvaja, Ugrareta, Bhava, Kala, Vamadeva, and Ritavrata. So in terms of discussion, I think we probably just carry on and discuss later. Dhirdhritirasalo cha niyutsartirlambika Iravati swada diksha rudranyo rudrate sriyaha. These are all the names of 11 Rudranis, wives of Rudra, 11 Rudras. Translation the same. Oh Rudra, you also have 11 wives called the Rudranis, and they are as follows: Dhi, Riti, Rasala, Uma, Nirt, Sarpi, Ila, Ambika, Iravati, Swadha, and Diksha. Text number 14. Grihina, Grihanaitani, Namani, Dhanani cha Sayoshanaha, Ebhi Srija Prajamahi, Prajanamasi Yatpatihi. Translation for the words Divine Grace Bhaktivedanta Swami. If you can read this one. Grihana, just accept. Etani, all these Namani, different names. Sthanani, as well as places. Also, Sa Yoshanaha, along with wives. Ebihi, with them. Shrija, just generate. Prajaha, progeny. Bhavihi, on a large scale. Rajanam, of the living entities. Asi, you are. Yat, since. Patihi, the master. Translation. My dear boy, you may now accept all the names and places designated for you and your different wives, and since you are now one of the masters of the living entities, you may increase the population on a large scale. This is Lord Brahma speaking to Rudra. Brahma, as the father of Rudra, selected the wives of his son, his living places, and his names as well. It is natural that one should accept the wife selected by one's father, just as the son accepts the name given by the father, or as he accepts the property offered by the father. That is the general course in increasing the population of the world. On the other hand, Kumaras did not accept the offering of their father because they were elevated far beyond the business of generating a great number of sons. As the son can refuse the order of the father for higher purposes, so the father can refuse to maintain his sons in increasing population because of higher purposes. A very interesting statement by Srila Prabhupada. So this just to touch base where this is the chapter 12. This is the secondary creation by Lord Brahma. So he's now creating all the praja, and he starts with the Kumaras. And before that's a very interesting verse here, or the first or the second verse, is talk about the 5 different types of ignorance. And then in terms of, we discussed like in the previous sessions, Kumaras were not interested in expanding the family, so they had the higher purpose. So Lord Brahma was internally angry. He did not express his anger towards the Kumaras, but internally he was angry. So from his anger, between the eyebrows, due to his anger from the between the eyebrows, the Rudra was born. And then, I was trying to discuss 11. So just so what's happening there is, he then says, "My dear boy, I have now selected the following places for your residence: the heart, the senses, the air of life, the sky, the air, the fire, the water, the earth, the sun, the moon, and austerity. These are all the places of residence of Rudra. Rudra was named given because he was crying when he was born. He asked his father, "Tell me what's my name and what should I do? Where do I live?" So these are the places given by Lord Brahma. Yeah, so in here, so Prabhupada explained very nicely exactly how all these places are the places of residence of Rudra. Rudra is also anger. The principle of Rudra is described. Krodha is the product of karma, which is the result of the mode of passion. When lust and hankering are unsatisfied, the element of Krodha appears, which is the formidable enemy of the conditioned soul. This most sinful and inimical person is represented as Ahankara, or the false egocentric attitude of thinking of oneself to be all in all. So all these are born of this like false ego giving birth to all these things. Then Prabhupada explains about the different locations, how Rudra is in the heart. The anger arises in the heart first because of the false ego, and which is also called Ahankara. And when, due to the nature of this material world, there is always some desire, some lust. And because, again, all lust cannot be fulfilled, give rise to frustration, rising to anger. So the heart is the place, where the anger resides. And because the anger arises, the senses also become active, eyes become red, the fist, becomes folded, and then kicking can happen. Someone can punch someone. We hear all these stories all the time. So just to set the context, I think it's already been discussed previously. Then the air of life, start to breathe heavily through the nostrils. Similarly, the residence also explained in the sky, the lightning and the thunder, the air blowing violently, the fire can destroy, the water can also, the oceans is explained here, can have high tides. And the earth can have dangerous animals like tigers, And the sun's, the heat can be strong. Similarly, coldness of moon can also sometimes kill. You see, moon, when it's full moon, it's more cold. And similarly, austerities, tapas can also give rise to anger. So these are different places that have been given to Rudra. Going back to verse number 14, where we were discussing. Yeah. So Brahma is the father Rudra, selected the wives of his son, his living places, and his names as well. So all those things have been established by Lord Brahma. It is now natural that one should accept the wife. Prabhupada now make some interesting philosophical statements here. It is natural that one should accept the wife selected by one's father, just as the son accepts the name given by the father. That's the interesting side. Obviously, it's almost unheard. It was there still in our age, but today's day and time, I think it is probably unheard of. A son accept the wife that's been given by his father. And for the later part, the son still have to accept the name given by the father. They can't change the name because they're too small at the time the name is given. I don't think that will ever happen. The son will say, I don't like the name given by my father, so I will change it to something else. That is still there. And the acceptance of property offered by the father is but along with today's day and time, I think along with the property is a massive mortgage also attached to it. So it's not the same anymore. That is a general course in increasing the population of the world. So that's what is needed. There must be a place of residence, there must be a name, and there must be the counterpart to increase the population. So Lord Brahma made all that arrangement for Rudra. On the other hand, Kumaras did not accept because they were not interested. They were elevated far beyond the business of generating a great number of sons. Now, the last statement is interesting. This Prabhupada makes a real exception that probably you don't hear from anyone else, but only from our Prabhupada. He says that the son can refuse the order of father for higher purposes, like in the case of Kumaras. It is also said that now the father can refuse to maintain his sons in increasing population because of higher purposes as well. So someone can argue like father should be staying at home until the time sons are all settled, and then they can do the other thing, other service, or maybe move on for higher purposes. So Srila Prabhupada explained that is not necessary, because often in today's day and time it is even more and more difficult because the marriages are quite late. Yeah, more and more these days, see, nobody wants to get married, nobody wants to get settled, nobody wants any commitment, and nobody wants to bear the burden of children anymore. It's surprising, shocking, like how it used to work. My father was like 5 brothers and 4 sisters. They were 9. So my grandfather was the only child for some reason, but he had 9 children, and there was no problem at all. Everything was taken care of. The Lord provides these days, I think, because there is less dependence on the Lord, and people have to depend on their own capabilities, which obviously everyone is scared of, that they will not be able to maintain so many children. So the tendency is to either not have children at all, and as a matter of fact, that's what's happening in some of the countries like Europe, in Germany, in Japan, maybe some other country. I think one big industrialist also making claim that the world population is decreasing quite heavily because people are not wanting to have children anymore, which would mean pretty much disaster, because then there will be no one to do anything. So that is the problem that is going on at the moment. But apart from that, Prabhupada makes a point that the father wants to then move on to a spiritual path for higher purpose, that is also acceptable. So fine. Go to the next verse. Ityadishta swaguruna Bhagavan Nilalohitah Sattvakriti Svabhavena Sasajatma Samaprajaha. Translation: the most powerful Rudra, whose bodily color was blue mixed with red, created many offspring exactly resembling him in features, strength, and furious nature. Now Rudra was given the instruction by his father to procreate. Rudra very obediently procreates, but then what happens is, because he's recreating, he's, with the sons similar to the fathers. His bodily color is blue mixed with red. Children were also similar in nature, in features, strength, and furious. They're all the same. And Rudranam Rudra Shrishtanam Samanta Dasatam Jagat Nishamya Sankhesho Yutham Prajapati Rashankata. Translation: the sons and grandsons generated by Rudra were unlimited in number, and when they assembled together, they attempted to devour the entire universe. And Brahma, the father of the living entities, saw this. He became afraid of the situation. The generations of Rudra, the incarnations of anger, were so dangerous to the maintenance of universal affairs that even Brahma, the father of the living entities, became afraid of them. The so-called devotees or followers of Rudra are also a menace. They are sometimes dangerous even to Rudra himself. Descendants of Rudra sometimes make plans to kill Rudra by the grace of Rudra. That is the nature of his devotees. The very interesting nature of the devotees of Rudra, he is saying here. And there are some stories, there are many stories actually. But there is one story which is in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is of the Vrikasura, or Bhasmasura also is called sometimes. It's in the 10th canto, I'm just referring to. I will tell the probably story, it's not a long story. They are sometimes dangerous even to Rudra himself. So this Bhasmasura, he wanted, he was like demon by nature anyway. So the story goes like he meets Sri Narada Muni and he says, who would be the easiest to please? There are three of them, Brahma, Vishnu and Mahesh, Lord Shiva. So who should I please to get a boon? And please tell me one who is quick to please. I have no time. I have to fulfill my desires. I have a plan. So what happens? The demoniac people always have a plan and they want to get something very quickly. So Vikasura wanted a lot of power. And he starts to perform his tapasya. He goes to Kailash. And he's now, performing his austerities, sets a fire. And what he does then is starts to create the in a desire to please Lord Shiva, that is already been directed by Narad Muni. He says, how can I please him? Demons have, very special plans. They're not there to, perform tapasya for the purpose of service, which is different. Their purpose of tapasya is always to create more nuisance, destruction in the society. So what he does is he starts to cut flesh from his body, and then he starts to offer one by one. Yeah, and he knows that, the Lord Shiva is, as Narada Muni explained him, Lord Shiva will give him very quickly the boons. He's also called Ashutosh, who can be pleased very easily and can be angered very easily as well. We also know the story of Banasura was, given a boon. So he had, like Banasura, they have 1,000 hands. We also know about, obviously, Ravana, 10-headed Ravana, also was the great worshipper devotee of Lord Shiva. They all got some boons. So Vrikasura, continuing the story, so Vrikasura then starts offering his flesh from the body and starts to put in the sacred fire that he was lighting. And then what happens is it goes like day one, he's taking some flesh out, day two again more, and as the days passes one after another, many days are passed, and he just keep doing it. But now, somehow or the other, Lord Shiva does not appear to him, so he's now losing patience. He says, I have to do something even more dangerous to please Lord Shiva, maybe. So what he does is now he starts to kill himself, and he's taking a sword and he just wants to, offer his own head into the fire. But as soon as he starts, to do that, Lord Shiva now, there's no other option. Lord Shiva sees that this person is hell bent upon doing what he's doing. So he, is very kind to him, says he comes out of the sacrificial fire itself to stop him, saying that you don't need to kill yourself. I'm here. Just tell me, what do you need? This is the nature of it's also that Lord Brahma and Lord Shiva are obliged to favor their devotees or people who perform tapasya for a boon to them. But that is not in the case with Lord Vishnu. But okay, so Lord Shiva now has to offer him boon. He says, okay, tell me, what do you want? You don't need to torment so much when I can be pleased so easily. I'm Ashutosh, I can be pleased easily, doing so much tapasya and creating so much violence to your own body. So because then he's just grabbing an opportunity, his Lord Shiva is here. He says he had a very interesting boon. I think we all know that. He had a desire, so that was easiest rather than having to fight people with sword and this and the other. So maybe I can ask much easier boon. He says, okay, just give me a boon that if I have so much strength in my hand that if I touch my hand on anyone's head, that person dies immediately. Lord Shiva, was little several what this demon will do with this kind of boon, but just out of his soft nature, he says, okay, you get that. So he gives that boon to Vika. Or they also call Bhasmasura. Now Bhasma literally means, Bhasma means to blitz, to fly, put in instant destruction. Bhasma. Bhasma is also like the ash is called a Bhasma, which is something that can be burnt to ashes instantly. So that's the kind of boon here. You can touch someone's head and instantly that person is turned into ash. Now, as soon as he gets the power, he's what do you expect from such people? This is the nature of a demon. They are never grateful for what they receive. And this is exactly the opposite in case of devotees. I always remember Draupadi's, when her sons were killed by this son of Drona and the others, she actually wanted to forgive him. And said, because we have learned so much from Dronacharya, how can we kill? This is a Brahmana, how can we kill? And we have to be always grateful to him because we have received some knowledge from his father. So this is the nature of devotees who at all costs want to remain grateful. Even though they may be harmed, they are still grateful and they don't want to return harm to anyone. Whereas the demon's nature is that they are never grateful. Gratitude is a great quality in devotees. You see that. So what does he want to do? Vikasura wants to kill his own master. So he's a devotee of Lord Shiva, and he makes a plan to kill his own master, his own worshipable deity. So he's now saying, okay, I need to do this. Start with you. Why don't I start with you, Lord Shiva? Let me try this. I start to Lord Shiva now on me. He says yes. And he starts to, head towards Lord Shiva. And now Lord Shiva, as per the Bhagavatam, he starts to, obviously he's frightened now because he has given all his power to this Vikasura. And he's given open power that, whoever he touches, there was no qualification. Whoever he touches his hand on, that person turns into action. So Lord Shiva then decides to, obviously he has to now run away from this person. At that instant moment, there's nothing else to do. This starts to move. He goes, all over the place, all corners of the universe, and then finally says, okay, there's no other option but to reach the Vaikuntha, and where Lord Narayan, he resides, and then that I'm sure because Lord Shiva is the greatest of the devotee, greatest of the Vaishnavas. He understands the mood of Krishna. He goes there, and when Krishna, obviously his most dear devotee is coming to him. So even before Lord Shiva reaches there, Krishna immediately takes the form of a brahmachari student, just like the Vamandev, how Vamandev was like small with the umbrella and with his book and like that, with his deer skin, how he's explained in the seventh canto. His prayer beads, looks like some young brahmachari, how they look very bright, very effulgent. So many of our brahmacharis also there, young brahmacharis, they go out distributing books. So with their presence, with their effulgence itself, they are able to distribute so many books. So this is all Lord's gift. So anyway, so Lord, becomes this young boy, very charming boy, appearing very Brahmanical, very, respectful, and becomes so attractive because of his presence. He becomes very attractive to this demon Vikasura. And then what happens is, as soon as Vikasura sees him, he becomes stunned a little bit, and then he wants to know who this little boy is. Looks very attractive. And that minute was good enough, for the Lord in that form to trick this person. Says, you look very tired, you're running, what's happening? You're sweating. What? There's lots of dramas also actually we've done in Bhaktivedanta Manor. It's a wonderful place. So you look very tired, you're running, what's happening? You just pause. Who are you chasing like this? You need to look after yourself. This is the thing. This when we say someone, you look after yourself. Are you okay? Normally we talk, are you all right? Are you going, what's happening to you? So as soon as, he starts to speak in this nice way, in a friendly and compassionate way, and this Vikas is already attracted to him, and he says, okay, this person looks like, very authentic, and he's asking me, a good question. I'm already tired because it's not easy to catch Lord Shiva. He's running around. And he says, yes, I've been running. I'm tired. I'm chasing someone. I says, okay, no, don't worry. He says, just take a rest for a minute. And then your body needs rest, you just don't tire yourself. Take a break. And that is good enough for someone who's, the nature of a demon is, again, is so much about body conscious. The moment someone's reminded, like, oh, you're tired, you look, take a rest. So they forget their goal. This happens with them. Devotees will not forget. They don't feel tired unless they achieve, But because they're in their mind, this is about the service, not about their own body. But because of the demons, it is all about their selfish desires, their body. As soon as someone tells them, Krishna sitting within the heart, is giving the knowledge, forgetful and remembrance, gives them this knowledge and memory that, their body is now tired, they should take some rest. So he stops there, and then he says, okay, now he's, a little bit stopped over. Then again, Krishna in the form asks him, what's happening? Well, why are you running? Who are you chasing? So then he says, yeah, I can maybe, open up with this boy. He says, he explained the whole story, what happened. He did all this tapasya, and now he has received this special boon from Lord Shiva, but now he wants to kill Lord Shiva. So he's chasing. So now this boy, Krishna, in that form, starts to speak even more soft, in a charming way. He says, okay, how can you believe Shiva? Who believes him anyway? Who is he? He is the Lord of the Pretas, the ghost. So he's the Lord of the ghost, and he's already been, cursed by Daksha. Don't you know that? He's cursed, and what sort of power he has anyways? You should not trust him. That's the last thing you want to do, is trust him. He's not left with anything. He's a liar. He starts to speak so many things that Vikasura becomes totally confused. He says, is he saying the truth? Or is not? But then says, because of the charm, he accepts that, yeah, that may be true. I've been fooled, This is the other thing, like, because within their heart, the desire is to satisfy own senses. There's always a doubt, because we're not, natural. It's not natural for living entities to satisfy their own senses. There's always a doubt whether I'm doing the right thing or not doing the right thing. Have I got the right thing or not? So he also started doubting whether I've received anything or not received anything. Maybe I've been fooled. So in that conversation as it's going on, then the boy says, well, if you really think that's true, that you have been given that power, why don't you, touch your own head and see? And if that's not true, then you should kill that person. Kill that, person who's given this power. So now he's more focusing on, okay, I need to teach him a lesson. If this is not true, then I'm going to kill. So he's now making a future plan that I will kill this liar. And in that, future plan of his, killing, he touches his own hand on his head. Then, as instantly, this turns into ash. This is how Krishna, is protected Lord Shiva. And again, we know about the other stories also. Even for Banasura, there was so much fight going on, and then, he was saved. So this is the nature of Lord Shiva, was always pleased. And this is a special service, actually. The special service from Lord Shiva, from Lord Shiva for the demons. Because it is said that who will take care of these people? All these people who are dangerous, demoniac, and Lord Shiva is so kind to them that he gives shelter to these people. Otherwise, where's the shelter? That's why Lord is, Shiva is the greatest Vaishnava, who has like heart for everyone and anyone. Like the ghosts don't even have body, while they're going around, but they become devoted to Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva looks after them as well. But this is the problem also at the same time. But because it all works in conjunction, Lord Shiva is non-different, we know that. Brahma Samhita explains is like the yogurt. And because it touches the material energy, it becomes the yogurt. Like milk becomes yogurt. Similarly, Lord Shiva, is because is in the material nature, is touching the material nature, and look, it also become the in this example become a false ego here. So, and there are many other stories. I think they're not from the Vaishnava Puranas, but there are other Shiva Puranas also. Some other stories like Andhaka. There's something called Andhaka. So Andhaka is like a blind person who's born from Lord Shiva's sweat, and he also performed tapasya, and then he performed tapasya to Lord Brahma, I think, and then he wants to abduct Shakti, Lord Shiva's wife, Parvati, Mother Durga. He wants to do that, and he also has a fight with Lord Shiva. He has special boon that every time Lord Brahma gave him boon, and every time a drop of blood falls from his body, another Andhaka will be born of the same strength. So as he's fighting with Lord Shiva, and Lord Shiva, with the trident, is destroying his body. Every drop that is falling becomes another Andhaka. Then Lord Vishnu again, he releases his Sudarshan Chakra and kills all these, Andhakas born out of his blood. And then Lord Shiva is able to kill him. There's so many other pastimes like that. But yeah, as we go through the Bhagavatam, there'll be so many. In the fourth canto, again, we'll read the Lord Shiva's wonderful qualities and his prayers and all that since we go on. So now what's the time? It's 8:40. Yeah, that was a nice, simple story. I think most of you already know, but it's always nice to discuss the pastimes of Lord Shiva. Okay, any questions, any comments? Anyone to share any stories, their favorite stories of Lord Shiva? Rudra. We have 5 minutes, or we can just end here. Okay, thank you so much for your devotees. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंतकोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.